It was an hour. This time is only a maximum of 25 minutes. So let me tell you something before we begin. I'll make this as practical as I can for you. Meaning that I will be giving you some tips on how you can make your speech more humorous. But the most importantly, I'm hoping to prepare you for the humorous speech contest that's coming up very soon. I will say next month. So for the next 25 minutes, these are the things we're looking at. Number one, able to look for humor in your writing. Number two, I will also give you a more structured approach to humorous speech contests. Very importantly, during the Brunei conference, I actually show you the different kind of humor depending on your own individual liking or individual preference. But for today, the only thing I'm looking at will be on anatomy of humor and also observational humor. When you do humor, very important thing, this is a very structured approach to it. You will need context and then punchline. This will be your setup. Make sense to you? At the same time, after you have that, your delivery will then determine whether this is actually funny or not. How do you do that? You use your body language, your facial expression, and also your vocal modulation. The only drawback I have today with you is I cannot go through delivery with you. Different people have different way of delivering. But for today, what we can do is looking at the context and possibly the punchline. The one that we're looking at right now is observational humor. There are many types of humor. There's also slapstick humor, where you go on stage and you fall down, your milk coming out of your nose. Those things are funny. But for today, we're looking at observational humor, meaning that humor that you make observation about something from the backwaters of life, or everyday phenomenon that is rarely noticed or discussed. Very simply, it means that you are looking at things that are not supposed to be funny back then. It's something very normal, but you are actually putting humor into it. And why this kind of humor is actually effective? Simply because when you see something, you don't thought it was funny, but if you as a speaker can make it funny, it becomes a very natural humor. You understand? Not a one-liner, not a joke, not like, knock knock, who's there? Not that kind of jokes. Those are one-liners. But for observational humor, something very simple, something that you do not see, something that usually doesn't cross your mind, but you make it funny by looking into humor of everyday thing. You understand? So how do we do that? For example, fighting to stay awake in class. Happened to you before?
Yes.
Most of us here, right? You BD students. Or for example, being a single man at 40.
Gerald.
Gerald is only 30 plus. Soon, Gerald, soon. Now, but having said all that, fighting to stay awake in class, something very normal, right? Something that you see since primary one until, university time. So how do you make it funny? Let me keep you aware that these two things is actually a real speech by some speakers last year. Meaning that whatever I'm giving you right now, right here, is not something I come up with, but a speaker actually uses for humorous speech contest. Why I chose these two? Simply because they can really build on more, look for more humor. How do we do that? We are looking at matrix of observation. This is something that what you can do is, when you write your speech, don't try to write jokes. Many people here, I cannot join humorous speech contest, I don't feel funny. I don't know how to write jokes. It's not funny. It's not supposed to be. Because if you write jokes are funny on the very first draft, you're more of a comic, you're more of a comedian. But when it comes to humorous speech, the first draft that you write can be extremely bland, extremely normal. But what I want you to do is, using this matrix of observation, you can find humor even in the most ordinary words. How do we do that? Number one, 5W, 1H. You learned that in primary one, right? What's that? What, why, who, where, when, and how. What do I mean? Look at it this way. After you look at the 5W, 1H, now I want you to look at feel, think, do, or see. Meaning that what do you feel, what do you think, what do you do, what do you see? How exactly do I do that? There are two ways. Some of us are surrounded by people who are funny. That's why you can then relate back your experience. But at the same time, you can also use your imagination. What I mean by here is fighting to stay awake in class. What do you see? From experience, you can see people are fighting to stay awake, right? But at the same time, you can also use your mind to imagine how it would be like. Imagine how you will feel like. Where is it? So here, when it comes to observation, you try to use this matrix. Let me give you the example. I have to keep up in class. With all my mind, I focus my concentration on the lecture. I tried to understand, then I fell asleep. Okay, right? Quite funny, right? But imagine if you use the matrix of observation, there are so many things here you can also put in. For example, this. I have to keep up in class. Have you seen people when they're in class, you know, they're really sleepy, they really want to keep up? Have you seen those people who are struggling? Can you, don't imagine first, draw from your experience. Can you see how funny it can be? Okay? At the same time, now you can also imagine how or what do you see. You can see that the person put two matchsticks put in their eyes and toothpick and go out like that. It's funny, right? But the thing is, but Stuart, I've never seen people do that before. It's not important. The important thing is you imagine that would be funny. You understand? Then here, with all my mind, I tried to understand. Can you imagine how that the person tried to understand? Have you seen before people in class try to understand a lecture, but they can never do it? You have, right? Yeah. So imagine now using your experience. What do you see? How do you feel that the person is doing? How do you think that the person may be feeling inside? If you have experience, great, expand it. If you cannot experience it before, try to imagine. That's where your observational humor comes in. Do you understand? Great. Now, moving on. Next example. Here, keep up. How did it feel like to keep up? This is experience. Imagine. How can it feel like? Next, what have I done before keeping up? Have you ever tried to stay up in class before? Is it difficult? Every day. You have tried, right? Okay, but some of you say, no, I'm a very good student. So you imagine how would someone like Era try to keep up. It doesn't have to be real. It's just something that you imagine. Can you all now look at Rera here, a very small petite lady. I'm the lecturer, very boring. She can't stand it anymore. Can you imagine what's going on in her mind right now? Funny, right? Can I get out of here? Have I downloaded my Game of Thrones? When will he stop talking? You know, why is he like that? Okay, wow, what do I have for lunch? All these things are imagined. So when you have something very simple, your hardest part is to look at which part can you expand on. Remember that when people go for humorous speech, they don't write jokes. They just write things that they see. The next part is look at where you can make it humorous by either experience or imagination. Where was it hard to keep up? Where else is it hard to keep up in class? There's so many questions you can ask for. Looking at back here again, I focus my concentration. That itself you can expand to something humorous. Okay? Good. Moving on. Try. Here, this is a real story. Please don't guess who is almost 40 and single, okay? I'm almost 40, but I'm married, so it's not me. That person is not here today. He's overseas. He's quite famous. So, I have a confession. At the young age of 40, nobody wants me, even on Tinder. I don't know why it's Tinder because I'm like married long time ago. Anyway, I feel like I'm a damaged good, all good. I feel like a break when the label read expiring in 3 days' time. I feel I'm not irresistible anymore. Quite funny, right? But you just imagine, if you find humor in this, what else would you believe that you can expand on? Look at it. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's no right, no wrong. Looking at this, what can you do? Which one would you choose? This is what I have chosen. So many things. Nobody wants me. You know how it feels like nobody wants you?
No.
Then imagine it. Nobody wants you. Even on Tinder. I feel damaged all goods. Bread that is expiring in 3 days' time. Have you seen bread that expires in 3 days' time? Have you seen it? Great. Imagine now you are that person, but you compare yourself to a bread. You're expiring in 3 days' time. If you say that, no, Stuart, I don't eat bread, then imagine how moldy would it be? You know, one side goes down, the other side moist. Okay? You can see some mushroom here and there. So imagine this gentleman here actually got mushroom coming out, possibly wrinkled. Can you see? So it's something so simple. Observational humor, the fun part is either from your experience or from your imagination. Again, now looking back at this matrix, do you understand how you may use it? Write your sentence, doesn't matter. Don't judge yourself. First drafts are seldom funny. Chances are you write 6 to 7 drafts. Because every time you read your draft, you will see rooms for improvement. But if you are thinking, Stuart, how do I see it? How do I expand it? Try to use this. What, who, where, when, how, feel, think, do, see. What do you see? What would you do? What would you think? How would you feel? Experience plus imagination. Some of us here are surrounded by people who are funny, so you can use experience. But some of us are not. But having even said that, I believe all of us here are somewhat funny in our mind, alright? That doesn't sound right, okay? But you can imagine things happen. You have seen teacher coming up here, they are so boring. Sometimes you imagine how funny it could be, you know, if he fall down here, you open his desk, a snake jump up, you know, you go outside, the rain falls on him, his shirt, his zip is not zipped up. All these things are imagination. So those things are called observational humor. Any questions before I move on? That's all the time I can have for this. Any questions? No? Great. Now we're moving on to these possible topics. Changing baby diapers. Is it funny? Not funny, right? I'm a new father. It's very funny. You probably think that, you know, that's Dr. Sofiana, you will know, right? The struggle, you open it, it's all fun, you know, but suddenly when you open the diapers, then you see things, you know, you have to go wiping, then you see all this other thing, you put it, a lot of things you can happen. First day at the new job, or first day in the college, first day in your own new course. Some of you here, first time here? Any members first time here? Sorry, guests first time here? Second time here, right? Can you remember your first time here? How does it feel? Nervous, right? Now, from the nervousness, he can come up here, he can do a speech about how nervous he was. Sitting down there, close his eyes, table topic master, please don't call me, please don't call me, okay? Who wants to volunteer? Avoid eye contact, avoid eye contact. You know, coming up here is like walking a plank to the pirate ship, you know? Then come up here, the whole thing's go blank. The moment he finishes, he sit down, he's like, oh my god, I'm not going to do it again, I'm not going to do it again. At night, why am I so silly? I can be better. I do the same thing. All these things is possible, but simply by imagining what he has done or what he could have done. Understand? Moving on, watching a horror movie, traveling to a foreign country, a lot of potential, right? Okay? Arguing with your spouse or partners, attending a boring workshop, given table topic by the world champion. This is an in-joke. For those of you who know what I mean. Okay? The heart was pounding, okay? So, not important. So, if you ask me again, before I move on to the last part, if you believe that writing humorous speech is one-time funny, not possible. You need a lot of draft. So, one thing you should do is look at where you can build on. Good? Moving on. I'm now deconstructing 2013, 2014, 2016 humorous speech. Why am I deconstructing? Because Division K, where we are, has won 3 divisions in 4 years. That's crazy, right? We have won 2 districts in 4 years. And there's a certain formula that we use. When I say we use, it doesn't mean that you must follow, but this will be a good guideline. Shall you want to test how funny is my speech? How ready is my speech? This is the structure. Number 1, you need a prologue. You need an opening. When you go up there, the first 10-15 seconds, you will be judged whether you are funny or not. Very funnily, in not with a good way, Some people go up there, they spend 30, 40 seconds on a statement that nobody laughs. You're actually wasting 30, 40 seconds. So my rule of thumb for you is, if you want to go up there and say, hey, look at me, I'm funny, tell your first humorous joke in 15 to 20 seconds. If you find your script have no jokes in the first 15 to 20 seconds, you are already losing your audience. So that is actually called a prologue or an opening. And your opening must then go to your Act 1. Act 1 here, you need exposition. Because when it comes to humorous speech, you must have a theme. You cannot be random jokes connected together. You must have a theme that you want. First act is exposition and your riff 1. What is riff? Set of jokes on common theme. Meaning that you are writing a joke, jokes after jokes after jokes after jokes, but it's related to the same theme. The other way is called set pieces. What is set pieces? Let me ask something that all UBD should know. Have you watched Captain America? Civil War?
Yeah.
Do you remember about the fight in airport?
Yeah.
That is a set piece. Because why? The whole thing for 50 minutes is all in there. It's self-contained. If you take out that part from the whole movie, it can still make sense to you, right? Because it's self-contained. Those are set pieces. Towards the final, where Captain America fight with Iron Man, that's another set piece. Movies are made of set pieces. When it comes to humorous speech, writing set pieces will allow you to get your audience to follow your themes in jokes. If you ask me how many riffs do you have, if you can have 2 or 3 set pieces, you can make your audience follow exactly where you are going. Let me give you an example on Alan's joke. Alan did one on being a Toastmaster. The first joke he mentioned, remember, table topic master. Second joke, he talked about R counter. Third joke, he went for general evaluator. So it's actually a set piece. After that, he made fun of myself, made fun of Dr. Chris Wu, made fun of late Sean. So that's another set piece. So if you want to do jokes, if you have no set pieces, your jokes are too random. Have a set piece, 2 or 3 people can then follow your humorous speech. Next, you need a climax. The climax is the part where you tie into your closing. You need speech value. The thing about humorous speech is, if you want to win, you must have a value behind it. For example, be a better person, try and try again, you know, it's my life, life is about taking chances, anything at all. But for humorous speech, you must have a moral at the back. We call it speech value. If I can break it down, it will look something like this in statistics and numbers. Economics of words. Chances are you speak for 7 minutes. That is 420 seconds. Approximately 800 to 950 words, depends how fast you speak. 25 jokes should be your benchmark. If you count your speech, you have less than 25 jokes, perhaps it's not that dense yet. If you got 30, 40, great. But 25 seems to be a golden number when it comes to humorous speech, because then every 17 seconds, people will laugh. You see, when people have a speech, it goes in a line. Imagine that you have only a joke every minute. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. The mood will die down. But imagine you got 17 seconds. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. The mood will continue. And your riff can actually help you to ensure that it's sustainable. Get it? Next, 3 to 4 set pieces if you can. And for the past 3 humorous speech contests, we have 18 laughters, 7 laugh out loud. 18, you cannot expect every single joke. If you do that, you're disrupting your own speech. Because every time people laugh out loud, you have to stop. Imagine that you stop every time 3 seconds. 3 times 25, you basically have no time to speak. So 18 normal laughters. If you can get 7 laugh out loud, or at the point where people will clap for you, you know you hit a gold mine. You understand? So 25 jokes, 18 laugh out loud, 20 laugh out loud, 18 laughters, 5 laugh out loud, 7 laugh out loud, that is more than enough. But if you ask me, Stuart, how am I going to do this? That really depends on your own skills. This is the part where you come in. But this will